The Poison Team Archetype is one of the meta team archetypes that revolves around inflicting poison stacks to the enemy as your main source of damage. Poison deals Genesis damage, which is equivalent to that of a true damage bypassing the defensive stats of the target. This team entirely depends on Tuesday's array, as without her array, the team cannot function at all. The goal of this team archetype is to inflict as many poison stacks as possible to the enemy within the duration of Tuesday's array. After her array ends, we repeat the same process again. Therefore, there are two things that we need to understand, which are what and how characters inflict many poison stacks, and why Tuesday's array is so significant to the team, which leads to the team not functioning without it. First of all, we will be discussing the core members of this team archetype. Again, I should emphasize that you need Tuesday if you want to play with the Poison Team archetype. There are currently no substitutes available for her, so if you do not have her, you will have to wait until you obtain her. There are currently 3 meta DPS characters in this team archetype, which are Ramona, Willow, and Ezio. Ramona has the most damage output when we compare them all, so she will be the main DPS of the team. Therefore, Willow or Ezio will be relegated as the sub-DPS of the team. For the last slot, since we do not have a dedicated sustain for the Poison Team archetype yet, Marsha will suffice. We will discuss why Sotheby is a really bad sustain for the Poison Team archetype later. Let us start with Ramona. Her main damage source comes from her 3-star second incantation. Ramona can generate a 3-star second incantation after she uses her ultimate for 2 rounds. Furthermore, her ultimate converts at most 6 poison stacks into Repellent, which is basically the upgraded version of poison that has additional detonation damage the longer it has lasted on the enemy. It also deals another additional detonation damage at the end of its duration. Her second incantation is very significant, because she detonates all poison stacks on the target at a 160% increased damage. All of those poison stacks include Repellent and Hex Bane. This is especially important for Hex Bane, which will be discussed during Willow's section. Anyways, as a poison character, she can inflict many poison stacks to the enemies. This is mainly due to her possess mechanic. When a possess incantation is actively used, Ramona will cast an array of effect follow-up attack afterwards, which inflicts poison and Spirit Repellent. Spirit Repellent detonates all poison stacks on the target at the end of the round for 6 additional times at most. Therefore, it is important to cast all possess incantation whenever possible, so that she can cast a lot of follow-up attacks to inflict Spirit Repellent. To make incantations be possessed, she needs to gain Exorcist for Hire, which is her self-buff that she will consume at the start of every round to make a random incantation possess. Her own incantations will be prioritized to be possessed. She can gain Exorcist for Hire via 2 ways, which are either from her insight, granting her 1 stack at the start of the round, or using her first incantation. Furthermore, the 3-star second incantation generated from her ultimate will also be automatically possessed. Other than her follow-up attacks, Ramona can inflict Spirit Repellent passively due to her insight. For each enemy defeated in a single round, Ramona will inflict 1 stack of Spirit Repellent on all enemies in the next round. Next, we have Willow. Her main damage source comes from her Hex Bane, which can be stacked up to 10 times. Similar to Repellent, Hex Bane is also a better version of poison, and its damage can be amplified if you detonate it many times during the round. Hex Bane has additional benefits, such as having compounding damage every time it is detonated up to 4 times, and also inflicting poison damage taken increased by 50% at most. I have seen some people misunderstood the compounding damage of Hex Bane, so I will explain it briefly here. It is said that Hex Bane has 40% compounding damage from each subsequent detonation, where the compounding effect can be stacked up to 4 times. This does not mean the damage output of Hex Bane will gain additional 160% damage after the 4th detonation. The compounding formula is as shown on the screen. It is 1 plus the rate of compounding, then power it by n, where n starts from 0. Since the compounding effect can be stacked up to 4 times, the amount of n at max will be 4. During the first detonation, n is equal to 0, so the damage has yet to compound. During the second detonation, n is equal to 1, so the compounding starts, which increases the damage output to 140%. During the third detonation, n is equal to 2, so the compounding effect increases the damage output to 196%. During the fourth detonation, n is equal to 3, so the compounding effect increases the damage output to 274.4%. Finally, starting from the fifth detonation and onwards, n is equal to 4, so the compounding effect increases the damage output to 384.16%. Hex Bane can be inflicted via Willow's first incantation, where the amount inflicted depends on the incantation rank, either 3, 4, or 5 stacks. Willow can also detonate her Hex Bane by using her second incantation. Each instance of poison will detonate all her Hex Bane at once. The amount of detonation happen depends on the incantation rank as well, either 2, 3, or 4 times. Now let us talk about Willow's ultimate. Her ultimate lets her into her channel state. In her channel state, her max Moxie limit will be increased to 10. She will gain 1 additional Moxie after actively using or moving her incantations, and gains 1 Moxie per 2 stacks of Hex Bane inflicted on the target with the most amount of Hex Bane. During her channel status, there are 3 aspects that change every round, which are the amount of times Hex Bane is assumed to have detonated, the amount of Moxie deducted from Willow, and the amount of Hex Bane inflicted on the enemies. During the first round of her channel status, which is after Willow uses her ultimate in the same round, Hex Bane will be assumed to have detonated once. No Moxie is deducted from Willow, and 1 stack of Hex Bane is inflicted on the enemies. During the second round of her channel status, Hex Bane will be assumed to have detonated twice. 4 Moxie is deducted from Willow, and 2 stacks of Hex Bane are inflicted on the enemies. This goes on, usually until the 5th round, as Willow will not have enough Moxie to be deducted anymore afterwards. Therefore, to recap, the methods to detonate Hex Bane are via Ramona's second incantation, Ramona's Spirit Repellent, Willow's second incantation, Willow's channel state, Tuesday's array, which we will be discussing shortly, and at the end of every round. Our second sub-DPS is none other than Ezio. If we compare the damage output between Willow and Ezio, it is not a surprise that Willow has higher damage output due to her Hex Bane mechanic. Therefore, you do not exactly use Ezio for his capability to deal damage in the Poison Team archetype. Instead, you will use him due to his 3-3 weapon, which transfers poison stacks from a dead enemy to the other enemies. This is particularly very useful on stages with many mobs that can be easily killed. So, technically speaking, Ezio is purely a support from this standpoint instead of being a sub-DPS, but I digress. Now let us talk about Tuesday. She is mandatory in the Poison Team due to her array deployed by using her ultimate. Furthermore, she has 2 important passives from her insight. The first one is Fierce Cradle, which causes allies to have a 50% chance to inflict poison whenever they inflict any debuffs. The second one is Room Service, which increases the max Moxie of all allies to 10. This makes the rotation more flexible without worrying the loss of excess Moxie. Before discussing her array, let us briefly talk about her incantations. Her first incantation inflicts poison, which may inflict more poison stacks if there are more than 1 enemy in the battlefield. Her second incantation inflicts Genesis damage taken, critical resist rate debuff, and poison damage taken to all enemies. This is very important to increase the damage output of the poison inflicted by all allies. Furthermore, you only have to use her second incantation once in a battle, as it can be extended by 1 round whenever Tuesday's array is in the battlefield. The most important aspect of her array that causes the Poison Team to be usable is that all poison stacks will not run out when the array is deployed. They will still detonate as usual, but the duration of the poison will not be decreased. All poison stacks including Repellent and Hex Bane will detonate without worrying about them resolving due to the duration ending. Additionally, poison stacks can be detonated at the start of the enemy's round as well. All poison stacks will be detonated and resolved when the duration of the array ends. Therefore, to recap, there are 4 reasons why Tuesday's array matters so much. The first reason is that both Hex Bane and Repellent will remain longer than their original duration. This is especially good for Repellent since it gains additional detonation damage the longer it lasts on the enemies. It is also important for Hex Bane as well, because 2 rounds will not be enough for Hex Bane to stack until 10 times. The second reason is that Ramona will also detonate all poison stacks every round via her second incantation generated from her ultimate at a 160% damage increase. The more poison stacks are on the enemies, the more the damage output of the detonation will be. This also synergizes very well with Spirit Repellent. The third reason is that Willow's Hexbane needs to detonate frequently in a single round, and Tuesday's Erase helps a lot, as it also provides additional amounts of detonation at most twice. The fourth reason is that all poison stacks will instantaneously detonate when her array ends, which causes massive damage to the enemies without needing to wait for the poison stacks to resolve one by one. The last slot is reserved for the Sustain, which is none other than Marsha. Since the poison team is extremely AP hungry, it is best to use a Sustain that does not require to use any action points, so Marsha fits the best here. Additionally, Marsha can provide buffs like critical rate and critical damage to all allies. Furthermore, Marsha Inflicting Burn has good synergy with Tuesday's Fierce Cradle, where she will have a 50% chance to inflict poison after inflicting burn. Now let us briefly discuss why Sotheby is not suitable for the current poison team. The main reason is that she is extremely AP hungry, but we already have two AP hungry characters in the team, which are Ramona and Willow. Furthermore, her sustain capability requires her to actively use her healing incantation, and even assuming that there are rooms in the action point bars, Marsha is still a better sustain overall. While her ultimate can detonate all poison stacks, which is a good thing, she cannot passively gain Moxie like Marsha, so it will be nearly impossible for her to cast ultimate. Therefore, the team formation for the poison team is as shown on the screen. Ramona as the main DPS, Willow or Ezio as the sub-DPS or support depending on the stages, Tuesday as the mandatory support, and Marsha as the sustain. Use Willow when there is only one boss. On the other hand, use Ezio when there are many mobs that can be easily killed. For the Psychube, Ramona uses 37's 5-star Psychube, Willow uses her own Psychube, Ezio uses Ramona's Psychube, and Marsha uses either Molder's Psychube or Fatutu's Psychube. For the team with Willow, Marsha should use Molder's Psychube, while for the team with Ezio, Marsha should use Fatutu's Psychube. This is due to Fatutu's Psychube providing slightly more critical damage buffs to all allies when the team receives many attacks in a single round. Since we will be using Ezio when the stages have many mobs, it is better to use Fatutu's Psychube. Before talking about the rotation with Willow, let us talk about the priority of the rotation. Both Ramona and Tuesday need to cast their ultimate in the second round to immediately start the rotation, while Willow needs to cast her ultimate in the third round. Ramona only needs to use both of her incantation at the start of the battle, while Tuesday and Willow only need to use one incantation to be able to cast ultimate in the second and third round respectively. Ramona starts with 2 Moxie and will gain 2 Moxie after using both of her incantation and 1 additional Moxie after casting her first follow-up attack due to one of her possessed incantations. Tuesday starts with 4 Moxie, so after using one of her incantation, she will be able to cast her ultimate in the next round. Willow starts with 1 Moxie, but if she is not in her channel state, she will be able to gain 2 Moxie passively every round. Other than that, we want Willow to inflict 10 stacks of Hexbanes especially before Tuesday's array ends, and they need to detonate as much as possible in a single round for the maximum amount of damage. Since Spirit Repellent also causes detonation, we need to use at least 2 possessed incantations every single round since Ramona's follow-up attack inflicts Spirit Repellent. Finally, please keep in mind that we should always use Ramona's second incantation after using other incantations or ultimate since we will be detonating all poison stacks with it. There is a small disclaimer on the rotation itself. The amount of detonation calculated will be considering 3 factors mentioned on the screen. We will assume that there are no enemies other than the boss. Since the rotation will have 2 possessed incantations every round after the preparation phase, the boss will have 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent. This can be increased up to 6 stacks if there are other enemies on the battlefield or you use more than 2 possessed incantations in a single round, but for the sake of the explanation on the rotation later, we will only go with 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent after the preparation phase. Finally, all incantations will be assumed at 1 star, so we will assume no additional detonations from Willow's second incantation. If you can use Willow's second incantation at 2 or 3 star, she will detonate more Hexbane stacks in a single round, but to not make the explanation more complicated, we will assume her second incantation will only detonate Hexbanes twice at 1 star. In the first round, please proceed to use Tuesday's first incantation, Willow's first incantation, and both of Ramona's incantations. Alternatively, you can use one possessed incantation and move the other one instead, so there will not be RNG involved in the second round. With this setup, Ramona and Tuesday's ultimate will be ready in the second round. The enemy will also have 3 stacks of Hexbane. In the second round, please proceed to use Tuesday's second incantation, Tuesday's ultimate, Ramona's ultimate, and one of Ramona's possessed incantations. If the possessed incantation is her first incantation, use it before casting Tuesday's ultimate. If the possessed incantation is her second incantation, use it after casting everything in the round. In the third round, please proceed to use Willow's ultimate so she can start channeling. Use Willow's first incantation, one possessed incantation, and Ramona's second incantation generated from her ultimate. With this setup, the amount of Hexbane inflicted on the target will be 7 stacks, 3 stacks from the first round, 1 stack from her channel, and another 3 stacks from her first incantation used during this round. In the fourth round, please proceed to use a possessed incantation and Willow's first incantation. At this point, the enemy will have 10 stacks of Hexbane, so you can proceed to use Willow's second incantation afterwards. Then, we will end this round by using Ramona's second incantation. Assuming the target has 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent, detonation on Hexbane happens 10 times, 4 times from Spirit Repellent, 2 times from Willow's second incantation, 1 time from Ramona's second incantation, 2 times from Tuesday's array, and 1 time at the end of the round. The compounding damage starts from n equal to 2. Since Tuesday's array ends this round, all Hexbane stacks will disappear. The first until the fourth round is the preparation phase. Starting from the fifth round, we will start the looping phase. Please proceed to use a possessed incantation, Tuesday's ultimate, Ramona's ultimate, and Willow's first incantation. With this setup, the amount of Hexbane inflicted on the target will be 6 stacks, 3 stacks from her channel and 3 stacks from her first incantation used during this round. Assuming the target has 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent, detonation on Hexbane happens 6 times, 4 times from Spirit Repellent, 1 time from Tuesday's array, and 1 time at the end of the round. The compounding damage starts from n equal to 3. In the sixth round, please proceed to use Marsha's ultimate, any random incantation, preferably possessed but we will assume it is not possessed, 1 possessed incantation, and Ramona's second incantation generated from her ultimate. With this setup, the amount of Hexbane inflicted on the target will be 10 stacks, 6 stacks from the previous round and 4 stacks from her channel. Assuming the target has 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent, detonation on Hexbane happens 7 times, 4 times from Spirit Repellent, 1 time from Ramona's second incantation, 1 times from Tuesday's array, and 1 time at the end of the round. The compounding damage starts from n equal to 4. Alternatively, during the loop for this round, Willow's ultimate will be ready since her channel ends in the previous round. Rather than using a random incantation, please use her ultimate instead. During this loop, assuming the target has 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent, detonation on Hexbane happens 7 times, 4 times from Spirit Repellent, 1 time from Ramona's second incantation, 1 time from Tuesday's array, and 1 time at the end of the round. The compounding damage starts from n equal to 1. Finally, in the 7th round, please proceed to nuke everything, starting from using a possessed incantation to inflict Spirit Repellent, 2 Willow second incantations, and Ramona's second incantation. There will be 10 stacks of Hexbane during this round, and assuming the target has 4 stacks of Spirit Repellent, detonation on Hexbane happens 12 times, 4 times from Spirit Repellent, 4 times from Willow's second incantations, 1 time from Ramona's second incantation, 2 times from Tuesday's array, and 1 time at the end of the round. The compounding damage starts from n equal to 4. After this round, all Hexbane stacks will be removed, and the rotation starts looping again. Simply repeat the 5th, 6th, and 7th round of this rotation. Before talking about the rotation with Ezio, let us talk about the priority of the rotation. Ezio is only used to transfer poison stacks from dead enemies to the main boss. Therefore, he does not need to actively use his incantations at all. The only thing we need to focus on is Ramona, and we want her to have her ultimate casted every 2 rounds to always generate her 3-star second incantation. This means that the rotation is very flexible as long as you can cycle Ramona's ultimate. Before casting Tuesday's array in a specific round, at least one mob should die first in the previous round so that you will be able to inflict more poison stacks. Use any possessed incantations after considering Ramona being able to cycle her ultimate, and as usual, please use Ramona's second incantation at the end after using others' incantations and ultimate. In the first round, please proceed to use any of Tuesday's incantations and Ramona's incantations. Move Ramona's incantation before finishing the round with her second incantation. Remember to swap the target to regular mob instead of the main boss, since we want to inflict many poison stacks on said mob first. In the second round, please delay Ramona's ultimate and build up more Moxie. Use and move all of her incantations, and if there is a room, please proceed to also use a random possessed incantation. You should generate Ramona's incantations with tuning if the spell log has none of her incantations. In the third round, please proceed the same as the second round, but use Ramona's ultimate this time. After this round, simply repeat the second and third round until a mob is dead. In the fourth round, assuming that a mob is dead, please proceed to use Tuesday's second incantation, Tuesday's ultimate, Ramona's ultimate, and one of Ramona's possessed incantations. If the possessed incantation is her first incantation, use it before casting Tuesday's ultimate. If the possessed incantation is her second incantation, use it after casting everything in the round. In the fifth round, please prepare to nuke in the next round by using Marsha's ultimate and Ramona's incantations. Remember to ensure that Ramona will have 5 Moxie at the end of this round. In the sixth round, remember to swap the target to the main boss as we want to nuke everything. Use all available Ramona's incantations, including her ultimate, and at least 2 of her possessed incantations, preferably her second incantations. After this round, simply repeat the second and third round until a mob is dead again, then repeat the fourth, fifth, and sixth round. Without further ado, here are the battle showcases for the Poison Team Archetype.
A bold attempt. Marsha, I'll handle the basic. Please, Mom, give me something heavy. At your service. Divisiones avanzadas, tendrás de Repellent. Luz, pues sin violencia. Verdad revelará disfraces disipados. Peace and quiet. There's strength in postpone. This way, please. I'll handle the basic. You're almost ready. It's time to go. So put your hands on everywhere. Grab it. Stop it. Not long. Almost ready. Abrázalas. A que las tierras más allá de la muerte. Please my prayer. I stay no more. The sacred touch. The same shadow from the same light. Get back and stay back. Yes. Stranger to peace and quiet. What? I'll handle the purification. Please my prayer. A stray no more. I will remember the name. Este lugar es un santo revelado en tu mostrado para ti. se desvela. Peace and quiet. Ich werde meine Pflicht erfüllen. Marsha, give me something head. I'll handle the purification. It's for your sake. Este lugar es instante, revelado ante mí. Las mentiras se desvanecen. La verdad se desvela. A sacred charge. The strength is part of the training. Give me something heavy. Although, I'll avoid delivering any legal injury. Yes. Peace and quiet. There's strength in restraint. So annoying.
That was your last chance.
It's time to go. This way, please. It's time to go. Give me something heavy. I'll handle the purification. Abrázalo. Hacia las tierras más allá de la muerte. Eres solo apagado. La verdad se revela. Las mentiras se desvanecen. La verdad se desvela. Peace and quiet. A sacred charge. Marsha, this way, please.
Into darkness.
Astray no more. You're working. At your service.
Librado da fratello.
Gracias.
That was your last chance.
And quiet. There's strength in restraint. Let me have your room is ready. It's time to go. Astray no more. Please, stop this violence. Knock knock. Room service. Abrázalo. Hacia las tierras más allá de la muerte. Verdad revelada. Disfraces disipados. So annoying. A sacred charge. Sure, let me handle the pain. Marsha, astray no more. I will remember the name. There's strength in restraint. Show yourself. Gracias. Sacred charge. Strength of the pain. Out of the it's time to go. Astray no more. Este lugar es instante, revelado ante mí, mostrado para mí. Abrázalo. Hacia las tierras más allá de la muerte. Verdad revelada, mis brazos disipados.